I gripped the diamond ring with my left hand and the grenade's pin with my right. Whatever her answer, we'll be spending the rest of our lives together. Devastated by my dog's death and wanting to do good for others, I asked the genie to bring all animals back to life that died in the past month. It wasn't until I felt the writhing contents of my stomach forcing its way up my throat and out of my mouth did I realize eating a steak tonight was a very bad idea. I found a nail in my tire. I think it was my neighbor. I was sure I'd gotten every bit of him off my car. Every week, I prank my insectophobic girlfriend with a new creepy crawly in our apartment. By the time I murder her, the neighbors will long be used to the sound of panicked screaming. My front baby tooth was loose today. I pulled it out, but it was still connected by a gross string, so I kept pulling and now I felt a weird tickle behind my eye. Reviewing the old tape of my 12th birthday party, I noticed there were some things I didn't at all remember, like the part where everyone gazed silently into the camera, mouths agape, for 2 hours until the candles burned out. I was browsing through Live Leak with my friend Dave earlier, where we came across a particularly disturbing video posted a few years ago. It wasn't the fact that Dave actually died in the video that bothered me so much as the fact that I watched myself die as well. Finding my 5-year-old son dead in his bed this morning finally sent me over the edge after the death of my husband. My wrist slit. I began to slowly drift away when the bathroom door opened and I faintly heard, "Mom?" I work at the crematorium, loading bodies into the furnace. You'd be surprised at how many times you hear screams after the furnace door closes. "Look, Dad, the sharkies are so big," my son said gleefully, pointing towards the glass. "Yes, they are, champ," I said, as I held back my tears and pulled him into the driver's seat for one last hug before the windows broke in. "If the thing notices you, don't worry. There is a gun in the backpack in the kitchen. However, it only has 1 bullet, so make sure to aim for your forehead, just to be sure." I was shocked and confused when I found out I was pregnant, when I hadn't even lost my virginity. One night, my gruesome sleep paralysis monster smiled to me and said, "His name is to be Lucifer." On the monitor, I can see my husband's shaky face slowly creeping up to the security camera in an attempt to scare me. I'd laugh, but then I see his torso, arms and legs, all separated on the ground in the background. I used to hate the sound of crickets outside the lonely farmhouse. Now every time they go silent I know that thing is passing by, and I pray for them to chirp again. My day took me on a cruise on this fancy glass-bottomed boat. I didn't know what was scarier, the bloated hands pressed against the glass from below, or their warnings as they pointed to my date. My dad didn't beat cancer, but I'm okay with that. One less thing for him to beat. I watched my daughter's third grade saxophone recital at least 100 times. If I pause it at the right frame, I can almost make out the stranger that was talking to her backstage before she went missing. Though their marriage was on the rocks, Jess was shocked to come home to a suicide note in her living room. She failed to hear the footsteps creeping up behind her as she noticed the name signed at the bottom was hers. "Son, I really can't believe how helpful you have been since your sister got sick." Wheeling my sister outside for a walk, I whispered in her ear, "Who's the favorite now?" as I injected another dose of paralytic. I found it interesting that internet bot can create a photo of a person that does not exist, but then my photo showed up and I started disappearing. I was excited to find out I could read people's minds. I gotta say, the excitement faded quickly when all I could hear in the empty graveyard was screaming. Given that suicide is illegal in many countries, I've always wondered how they punish offenders. As I watched the officers take turns defiling my mother's corpse, I wish I'd never found out. After eruption, I grabbed the hands of my crush. She didn't like me back, but when they discovered our dead bodies, they think we were a couple. My memory is not what it used to be, said our tour guide as we encountered yet another dead end in the cave system. The ability to stop time may be a very rich and powerful man, but as I sit there, frozen in my last few moments of life, the only thing I fear is time resuming and death finally taking me. My dad died on our last camping trip. I've set countless forest fires since then, and you will too if you saw what took him. With each swing of the bat, the audience cheered. I pleaded for him to swing at my head, just so this would end. I was hoping to finally come out of the closet, but my family kept the door locked when they moved. Today I discovered I used to have a little sister. Now I understand why mommy and daddy didn't want me to go alone in the attic. My girlfriend is so cute when she's angry, but she's even cuter when she's terrified.